Hello, good evening. We are again at Sunset Sound Studios. There's a lot of people who asked me about the guitar sound and how that goes about. Well, we start out to play the track together, the three of us, and then I'm usually taking two amps who are both mic'd. Depending on what the song is, Greg will put certain mics in front of them. There's a couple of them. Well, these are the amps I used for this album and I'm still using. There's an old Magnatone 440. It's a 112-inch speaker, small amp, sounds fantastic. There's a little Ampeg Jet, also a 12-inch, but I put a new speaker in it. And this is a Victoria Bandmaster. Actually, it's a copy of an old Fender Tweed Bandmaster. It has three 10-inch speakers, and then there's two also great amps. It's the Vintage 47 they're called. It's a guy who makes them by hand. Very sweet guy. He shipped them to me, and they're actually copies from old National and Wahoo amps, like the suitcase amp, like at the bottom. It has just a small 8-inch speaker, but it sounds amazing, and they look fantastic in the meantime. So it's kind of cool. So we got a lot of flavors going on, and depending on the song, I kind of listen to what's what and plug it in here and there, and then we choose to start with. And then there's a couple of pedals. Usually there's stuff that stays, and then there's other stuff that comes in and goes out, and that's how it works. It's like, this is a booster I kind of put together with somebody, and we modified it a little bit, and that's a basic thing that's usually on all the stuff, and more clean or more dirty, depending on what the song demands again. And the cool thing is about the big knob, you can change it with your foot. When you're playing a concert, you can, if you need more dirt, you can adjust it without having to go down there, and you can just keep on singing. Blocks of Rock, ZFX, really cool thing. The way huge pedals are absolutely cool too. This is a very cool fuzz. There's also a very cool booster, the red one. I don't remember what it's called, but we'll look at it in a minute. MXR, it's a really cool delay pedal, analog delay, and that's also good on vocals, by the way, the MXR. And this DD20 Giga delay, I've played with it for years already, and it still works, and it's great. And I'm using it live too. It's great, especially when you're singing, because you can like store 4 sounds in there, so you can. It's kind of nice when you have to sing and play guitar at the same time. So you don't have to drop on your knees to adjust stuff in between songs too much. And then of course the fantastic Roger Mayer Voodoo vibe. There's also other stuff in the Tremelo songs. There's the Diamond Tremelo. It has a couple of really cool features on it. There's the Fuzz Factory, the Fat Edition. If you need like over-the-top gated farting fuzz, well, it's a cool thing. It does the job. And then I brought a couple guitars with me that I kind of like, and that I know of that they have proven themselves over the years. This is an old Gibson ES 295, which is also usually a step down tune. Instead of E, it's D. And also the Melody Maker, it's the same deal. It's also a step down. I use fairly heavy strings for the tune down stuff. For the standard stuff also, maybe it's like 11. For the standard guitars it's 11 to 56, and for the stuff that's tuned down it's 12 till 60. But it's because I'm singing and playing guitar at the same time. It makes me hit the strings very hard, and otherwise I'm breaking strings all the time. So that's why I use those, the heavier ones. It's not that they sound the best for everybody, you know. There's people who play with very, very light strings that have great sounds. Like for instance, Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. He plays a 8 set, and I don't think he has a bad sound. So it's what feels good, what feels right. Those old guitars, they like a set that's a little heavier than usual. But again, it's what your fingers demand, because that's where the sound is, not in the pedals and in the amps and stuff. It's in the fingers. And what we have here is my trustworthy Danny Gatton Telecaster. It's one of my favorite guitars still. I take it out, I guess every time we play live. This guitar has been with me since I had it. And even if we have like a flight and we fly into a gig and I can take 2 guitars, it's usually 2 Telecasters. And this is my first choice. It's a killer Telecaster. This one is something I bought really cheap. It's some sort of a Frankenstein kind of deal. It's an old body from a Framus or Hagström or whatever, with a new neck. It's a Danelectro type of neck. And I put an old Gretsch pickup in it, and it sounds so amazing, this thing. If you record with it, it's fantastic, that guitar. It was very cheap, but there you go. There's no rule in finding good sound. Sometimes you find peculiar stuff that nobody wants, and still there's a good, you can do a lot of fun stuff with it. And this is a very, very nice guitar. It's an old Gibson Les Paul Jr. from the 50s. I like those guitars because they're very simple, and they have a really beefy neck. That's the kind of thing that's cool about 50s guitars, also 50s Fender, and I like to play the fat necks because of the big strings or the heavy strings, and just one pickup and 2 knobs, and away we go. So that's that, and then I guess we go this way. Here's some other stuff that's lying around. Of course, my old Gretsch. This is also one of my favorites. It's such a good, cool guitar. Already used it on a couple of songs here. Sounds amazing. I brought a couple of guilds, old ones. This is a 60s guild. There used to be like a switching system with knobs, which is completely hilarious. So there's a very good tech here in LA who kind of changed it for me into something that works, which is nice on the guitar, that it works. Yes, a little acoustic, an old 50s Gibson for the sometimes an acoustic line might even work better than 7 layers of distorted ones. And then another guild. They're also hollow on the inside. It's an M75, the Blues Bird, they call it. They're very light. It looks a little bit like Les Paul, but it has nothing to do with Les Paul. It's something completely different and something very wonderful on its own. And then the Danelectro, an old Danelectro 12-string with a lipstick pickup, of course. I bought it in London. I played there once. A fantastic thing. Well, that's about it. Of course, you don't need so many guitars to make a great album, but it does make it fun to have a couple of guitars hanging around. Although bringing just a lot of stuff that's not being used is not advisable, you know. you might just wanna check what you know that works, and maybe something that you don't know, but not too much stuff, because then you get like lost in too much stuff, and you have to keep track of what you're recording, right? So I told you about the basic tracks. When we do overdubs, it's usually I'm doubling kind of stuff that we already played together, and then it's a chorus that needs to jump out a little. Then I'm just doubling the chorus, like what I'm doing live when I switch in the second amp. And then I choose an amp out of the pack that I didn't use on that song yet, so I have a different kind of flavor. Or I take another guitar and play it with that one. Sometimes even if like today we started on a song that we had a basic track for, and we wanted to work on it a little more. I wanted to add some guitar on the chorus, but it didn't make it better actually. It didn't need it, because the first track was sounding great, and the cool thing is about having one guitar track. If you have one good track, you can put it really loud. If you have like 7 guitar layers above each other, you can't put them as loud individually, because you can all put them like very quiet on top of each other, so you won't hear the individual sound so much. But again, it's what you need and what you want. Sometimes if it sounds good, you just can stick with that thing and just put it really loud in the mix. Yeah, I guess that was it. Have a nice evening or morning or whatever, whenever, how late it is, where you are. Toodaloo.